Oh man, Marvel fans, we've got some crazy information out there about Tom Holland's Spider-Man. First up, we got to talk about the Hawkeye connection. Yeah, there's a literal connection to the Disney Plus Hawkeye show, which is pretty crazy. But on top of that, there are a couple of new reports talking about how Spider-Man 4, another installment for Tom Holland in the MCU, is already in development. Let's get into it. What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerdventures Tower. As per usual, we are just days away from Spider-Man No Way Home, one of the most hyped up Marvel films of all time, and we're all very excited to check that movie out. Now, recently, the first minute of the actual movie for Spider-Man No Way Home was released out there online. It is the opening scene clip, and a lot of people are talking about different aspects of the clip. It's really exciting, showing that it's going to take place pretty much right after the post-credit scene of Far From Home, where everybody's figuring out that Peter Parker may have killed Mysterio. There's a lot of craziness going on in there in this mob, and they're all going away. But wait, just a freaking second there, ladies and gentlemen. Behind the two of them as they're swinging away is Rogers the Musical. And a little bit later on, you can see it again right as they're about to propel up onto this bridge. Right there, Rogers the Musical again. Is there going to be a connection to the Hawkeye show in the Spider-Man movie other than just the posters being out there? And I think more pressing and more interesting is the idea of there being a connection to Spider-Man No Way Home in episode 5 of Hawkeye. And to be honest with you guys, I had heard a long time ago that there was going to be a Spider-Man connection in the Hawkeye show, and I have to wonder, are they going to talk about this exact report of Spider-Man's identity being out there? Are they going to discuss that in the Hawkeye show? Maybe it'll just be something that goes on in the background. Maybe Kingpin himself, who is also rumored to be showing up in episode 5, will make mention of this report. Maybe it'll do something for his plan. And I mean, what would be really crazy is if Clint Barton literally stopped to have a little conversation with Spider-Man or talk to him in some way, because they're both technically Avengers. That would be really, really fun. Regardless, very interesting here. And it sort of shows that this connective tissue between the shows and the movies is a totally very real thing. And I look forward to more things like this. Just this feeling that we are in this organic world moving together. Both of these properties, the show and the movie, taking place in the same holiday season. That's just cool on its own. But of course, as a greedy Marvel nerd, I want even more. Maybe Spider-Man swinging by in the Hawkeye show, them talking about it, or references to something else Hawkeye related in the movie. Regardless, super cool. Can't wait to see episode 5 of Hawkeye and of course the movie next week. But that is not all, ladies and gentlemen, as there is a lot of buzz and rumblings about more Tom Holland Spider-Man content coming up very soon, possibly already being in development. I want to first show you an article from Fandom and then show you a report over on the Diz Insider that talks about an exclusive regarding Spider-Man 4 and how it's already in development. But right here it says Spider-Man star Tom Holland wants to make a low-budget Peter Parker movie. Here's what Tom says here. He says, you know, there is a future for Spider-Man. Whether I'm a part of it, I don't know, Holland tells Fandom ahead of the release of the culmination of his first MCU trilogy, Spider-Man No Way Home. It's his 6th outing overall as Spidey in the 5 years since he made his debut. It's been an incredible journey so far, and if it's time for me to hang up the cape and let the next person take over, I will do that proudly, knowing that I've achieved everything that I wanted to do in this world. And when I say this world, I mean the MCU. I don't mean this world like the actual world. So yeah, I feel pretty good about the future of Spider-Man, and I'm happy to let someone else don the suit, but I also would love to squeeze back into that spandex again. While we're not sure that Spidey's high-tech suits are still made out of spandex these days, if we were to wiggle it on for Amy Pascal's proposed new trilogy, what would he want to explore? That's a great question, he says. The truthful answer is I don't know. There is one idea that I have pitched to the studio, but by telling you that idea, I'd be ruining this movie, so I'm going to have to keep that one for myself. Let's also make mention that in this article it says here, this is Tom saying, I think there are some interesting villains, he says. I think Madam Web could be something that is really interesting, and we could do it in our own way. I'd really like to come up against Wilson Fisk. Clues point towards Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, being Uncle, the big boss of the crime syndicate of the tracksuit mafia in Hawkeye. Early in the series, we caught a glimpse of a large, suited man stroking young Maya's face. The character was her adopted father in the comics. Not only that, but we heard him laugh, and his voice sounded remarkably like that of Vincent D'Onofrio, who played the character in Netflix's popular Daredevil series. Okay, so let's stop for just a second. Guys, I continue to say this, and I really do believe it, that a lot of these people that are involved in these Marvel properties, whether it's Tom, whether it's Zendaya, whether it's Amy Pascal or Kevin Feige, they are aware of the rumor and spoiler talk that goes out there online. You think it's just on accident that he brings up Madam Web, something that is really heavily rumored to be a plan of Sony? And do you think it's on accident that he brings up Wilson Fisk, knowing full well probably that Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be Kingpin? He might already be aware of the connection that his movie has to the Hawkeye show, and he's at the very least aware of all of the buzz out there and rumors and hype regarding Kingpin. And so I just look at a lot of these interviews lately because, you know, we're ramping up this production, ramping up all these different interviews, and I see a lot of little signs that Tom Holland knows exactly what he is doing. He is playing with the whole rumor mill narrative, the whole fan speculation thing. I think it's wild that he mentions Madam Web and that he mentions Wilson Fisk, as these are two things in the ether out there when it comes to rumors regarding Spider-Man and Marvel. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. Let's now talk about an actual report that is saying that Spider-Man 4 is not only coming, it's already in production. Now, I am reading this over at the Diz Insider. This is Skylar Schuler's website here. I think Skylar does great work. He is referencing a report from Puck News that is behind a paywall. Okay, so I've tried to read the full article over on Puck, but it is behind a paywall. Let's read what they say here, okay? The title is Report, Fourth Spider-Man Film Already in Development. 2 weeks ago, Sony head of Amy Pascal revealed that Spider-Man No Way Home won't be Tom Holland's last movie as the web slinger. Now, thanks to a new report, it looks like the studio is already in development on the fourth entry. According to Puck News, they have learned the next Spider-Man film is already in development. According to multiple sources, there's a deal for a fourth Marvel-produced movie that will star Tom Holland, and it's already quietly in development. While news of a new Spider-Man film is great to hear, this would likely mean the franchise will not be bringing back director John Watts for a fourth go. Watts is currently signed on to direct Fantastic Four 2022 and would likely be a major focus for him. He is also attached to direct an action thriller with Brad Pitt and George Clooney. They have not commented on the story. Now let's pull all of this together. And I do want to mention that we just did a big Spider-Man video. I highly recommend you go watch that video right after you watch this one if you have not yet. In that video, we talk about the future, and there's a big report out there that Tom Holland is going to co-star in Venom 3 with Tom Hardy. I have some thoughts about how he could also be tied into Across the Spider-Verse. The future's really bright, but one thing we talked about in that other video is the fact that there's rumors of a 5-film contract on the table for Tom Holland, and a lot of the buzz and stuff that we're hearing kind of makes it seem like he already signed that deal. This deal is rumored to include another trilogy of movies with Marvel Studios and then 2 other movies with Sony, and it appears that Kevin Feige is going to go over and help produce those 2 movies with Sony. This might mean that Feige will help produce Venom 3 and something else over at Sony with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And again, it's super wild that he's out there talking about an idea that Tom already pitched to Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal. He says it would ruin the movie No Way Home, so he can't really talk about it. And then we just happen to get this other report that a 4th Spider-Man movie is in active development with Tom Holland. I think it all makes a lot of sense. I think they are really excited for what they can do with this guy moving forward. He has already clarified his statements about playing Spider-Man into his 30s, and we all kind of believe he's just sort of using negotiating tactics. Guys, with a lot of this stuff, you got to sort of read the tea leaves. You got to just see that there's smoke and find that there is fire, and it really does look like Tom Holland is going to be suiting up to do a whole nother trilogy with Marvel and do more Sony stuff. This dude is getting a lot of work, and he's going to be heavily involved in Marvel and Sony's future for the next 5 years, maybe even more after that. It's kind of wild that he already had an idea that he pitched. I know Kraven was sort of a backup plan for Sony and Marvel. Maybe they'll do something like that either with Sony or Marvel, but regardless, as we head towards No Way Home, it's a super hyped up time. But even going into that and then coming out of it, there's even more hype, as it is very likely we are already getting a fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man. There's no time to waste. Cut the guy a check. I hope he's getting Robert Downey Jr. money, because he's going to be doing so much work as Peter Parker over the next 5 years. It's an incredible time to be a Spider-Man fan. It's an incredible time to be a big nerd, but that's the news and some of my speculation about it. What do you think about all of this? Let us know in the comment section. And again, go watch that other Spider-Man video we just did. It took us multiple days to edit that thing. A lot of research went into it. It's a good video. Check it out. Get hyped up for Spider-Man. Smash like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel to get more of our content popping up in your recommended feed. And go check out our live streaming channel, our podcast on Spotify, and our TikTok account. There's so much nerdy stuff going on in the world, and we are covering all of it. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.